All right, folks, welcome to our first video interview for the Boulton Buzz. My name is Ben Stein, and I'm the current general manager here at the Boulton Center for the Performing Arts. Please join me in welcoming from the Hitman Blues Band that will be performing here on June 1st at 8 p.m. with Lex Gray, the Urban Pioneers, and Blue Velvo. Hitman, please, everybody, welcome so much, and thank you for coming in today.
Thanks for having me, Ben. I appreciate it.
It's great to see you today, and looking forward to your show so much. And just to kick things off, I guess my first question is for you. How did the group originally form? How did the Hitman Blues Band form? And how did your upcoming show turn from one group into kind of a super group of blues groups?
Well, I had gotten the name Hitman a couple of different times in my life, oddly enough. And so in a musical sense.
Okay.
You know, not going out and eliminating people.
Right.
And because at first I got that name because I knew all the hits.
Okay.
I was a freelance musician. I played with a lot of different groups, as by necessity, I had to learn pretty much every song from 1910 up to, and plus all the tunes that, are more fringe tunes, and in all different styles. I mean,
It's a wide range.
I played with, jazz bands and funk bands and rock bands, Hasidic bands, Greek bands, salsa bands, played with a German band, Portuguese bands, just all different kinds of swing groups and everything.
I can imagine once you get immersed in that musical industry, that aspect of it, that you run into so many different styles, like you just mentioned.
I had bills to pay.
Yeah, no, at the end of the day, fair enough. I got to put a roof over our heads.
And it was good because I got to play with so many fine musicians, people much better than me, and got to learn a lot of stuff. And then I started dressing like this, and there used to be a club called Chicago Blues, which was originally on, I think, 22nd Street and 2nd Avenue. And I walked in, and the host, lovely woman, Lavette Jackson, and her husband, Mitch. And Mitch would go, "Look, Russ, a hitman, he's Hitman Russ." And I was like, okay, it's the second time in my life people are calling me this on a regular basis. I decided that I wanted to find a genre that I would be comfortable playing the rest of my life.
Okay.
Mick Jagger said, "Oh, if I'm 40 and I'm still shaking my butt on stage, like shoot me." Well, we just saw him. He's 80, and he's shaking it. He's running around like a 30-year-old. The guy is absolutely amazing. But for myself, I thought, I love blues, and there's so many different kinds of blues.
Absolutely.
It's like saying rock. There's like a million kinds of rock. And I thought, this is something that even when I get old and decrepit, I can, stagger on stage and play, and people will be like, "Yeah, okay,
You can still play.
he can still play, still sing. All right, good." So I decided to just dedicate myself to that. And I formed, obviously, the Hitman Blues Band. We've been through different, incarnations of players, but still, all fine musicians, and it's been a pleasure to work with all of them. And the bassist who I have now has been with me for since probably about 2003. So that's a long time,
About 21 years.
Yeah, and we tour. We tour in the UK. We tour in the EU. I like to go to Australia. But here on Long Island, it's harder for us to get gigs because there's, and I don't. I understand this. People want to see tribute bands. They want to see bands playing music that they know. It's like comfort food. You go out, you know what you're going to see. And for a lot of times, that's the closest you're going to get to seeing the real band because they're either dead or retired.
Fair enough.
Or you go to see a band and it's supposed to be a band and there's one original player,
No, for sure.
So it's not even the same. So I understand that, but it makes it, there's so much talent here.
Yep.
And when I say kids, I mean anybody younger than me, are getting back into like playing music, not just doing DJs, not just doing EDM, but actually playing instruments and, improvising, doing things on the fly. And there's not a real lot of places where that welcome that.
No,
But,
I understand. Yeah.
you know, when you're a musician, you can play cover songs, other people's music, your whole life. And if you're happy doing that, that's great. But for some of us, it's like, well, yeah, I got my own story to tell and I got my own things to say. It's like Blue Point, when they first started, Blue Point Brewery, they said, we brew it, we drink it, if there's any left, we'll sell it to you. Well, it's the same with the music. I mean, we write these songs about our own life's experience usually, and then you find out that people have, you know, they relate to it.
Yeah.
So when Mr. Boulton was kind enough to say, to extend this situation to us where it was like, well, he wants to help promote original music on Long Island. At one time, Long Island was known for having a lot of original bands.
Yep.
You know, Wheatus, you had Blue Oyster Cult, of course you had Billy Joel, you had Stray Cats, you had all these groups. Now, if enough people will come to this show, it'll show Mr. Boulton and his team that there is, in fact, some demand to see Long Island become again a center for original music and for up and coming groups. And because we were doing it, I figured, let me get a couple of other groups in here. Lex Gray is well known here on Long Island. She's been playing for a long time. Has a great, show, very exciting to watch. Blue Velvet is either a trio or a quartet, depending on how they go out. But the band leader, I guess, Guy, is an incredible guitarist and a great singer, and he writes very funny songs.
Okay.
So it's on every level.
Right.
It's just great to see them, and they just came out with their debut album.
Okay. Wow.
So I'm hoping that they can get more fans, build up their fan base as well. And to do this, we need the support of people who live here. I realize most people are not going to want to drive more than 15, 20 minutes to get to a show. So this is really going to be very localized. Like, there's probably, 500,000 people within a reasonable driving distance of here.
Yeah.
We need 261 of you to come in.
Yeah, no, exactly. We need 261 more to come.
Yeah, and I mean, we've got, it's almost half sold, but we really need to do a sellout on this. And, Ben, a lot of times people go, well, I'll just show up and I'll buy tickets at the door. But I think what people need to realize is when you see a thing that says, for circumstances beyond our control, this performance has been canceled, a lot of times the circumstances are they didn't sell enough advance tickets.
Yep.
And it costs the venue money to open up. It costs money to have people staffing it. And that venue might say to to the act, look, we didn't get enough advance sales and we're not willing to take the chance.
Yeah.
So not only for this, but for plays and dance recitals, anything, it's really important that you buy advance tickets if you can, because then they at least know this many people are probably going to show up because they've already paid for it. And that would be really helpful.
And I imagine it would be a good boost in your morale knowing going into a venue that a show is sold out or has a certain number of advanced pre-sales.
Absolutely. When we play in England, most of the tickets are pre-sold. And when we go to a venue knowing that we're playing to a full house, how much more excited are we?
Exactly.
Because when you get there, there's nobody there. So, you walk in and you set up, you do this, and you look at all these empty seats, and if you don't know in advance that you're getting it, you're thinking, how many seats, is this what I'm going to look at, 5 minutes after we started?
No, understandable. Yeah. Absolutely. So who is your biggest musical influence or influences?
Well, that would have been my father, who was Ray Alexander. He was a jazz vibist, and before that he was a drummer. He played with a lot of, big bands. There's a page on him on Wikipedia for Ray Alexander musician. And ever since I can remember, being a musician was like normal. Yeah. Other kids had fathers who were bakers or, cops or whatever. My dad slept till noon and, got home at 4 a.m. And to me, this was like, this is how you make a
The
living,
norm,
right?
yeah.
And he played a lot here on Long Island at Sonny's place, which was just an absolute treasure. Unfortunately, there's really nothing that's come to fill that gap. But,
No.
but it was, and then of course, like most kids who grew up in the 70s, there were all the usual suspects. I watched the Beatles cartoons when I was a kid, learned all the Beatles songs, Stones, Jimi Hendrix, The Who. The first band I was 12 years old, and we were playing the whole Quadrophenia. I mean, the whole Tommy album.
Jeez.
And Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young and all that stuff. So I grew up with that. And then the new wave, and then disco came in, which was difficult. And I had to play all that stuff. And then new wave came in, which I enjoyed a lot more. And it's gone on since then. I think what's interesting is that now I hear some of the newer groups like Vampire Weekend and I forgot the name, but For the Love of a Girl, they do. But a bunch of these newer groups, and the music is very similar to more what I would consider rock.
Right.
And I'm glad to see that it's popular, and people are enjoying seeing musicians come out and play live.
Yeah, no, and original music is also, it's a great thing to experience too, not just, like you said, your cover bands, but original music, it opens up the door for more intimate experiences as far as the show itself, so.
And you can communicate with your audience. Now what we do, and we just started doing this last year and it's worked out real well. When I go to see a band that I'm not familiar with, and they play, I like lyrics. I like to know what they're singing about. And after years and years of being in front of a band, my hearing is pretty shot. So it's a little hard for me to understand. And sometimes people do the Mick Jagger approach to singing, which is sort of like, so what we do is we have the lyrics to every show on a website.
Okay.
And we have a QR code, and we put that on stage so that when people are looking at us, they can go to the QR code, press the name of the gig that we're playing, and they'll see all the lyrics.
Okay,
and they can just follow along. They could sing along. If they sing loud enough, I can walk off stage and go to the bar where I belong.
Yeah, you walk upstairs, you get a drink, go downstairs. It's quick enough.
Let them do it.
Ah, very cool. So what do you enjoy most about performing live, and how do you prepare for a show the day of?
Generally, what I enjoy the most about performing live is the interaction with the audience, seeing how people, can relate to it and move to it. And the day of the show, generally I'll just warm up a little bit, get my vocals moving a little bit. But mainly it's just getting everything organized, getting all the merch together.
Fair enough.
Loading up all the stuff if we're going to be bringing our own equipment, or just making sure that everything works.
No, right, absolutely, yeah.
A good thing. You never know when you're playing live, you never know how it's going to affect somebody. Like we were playing in Birmingham, in England, at a festival, and I've played a lot of places. This is the first time I ever played in a cemetery.
Huh.
It was in the courtyard of a cathedral, and I looked around and I said, what are all these monuments? And it dawned on me, we're in the middle of a cemetery. And we're playing, and after we got done, this woman walked up and said, I was having an absolute crap day. And I walked out, I figured I'd cut across the park, and I heard you, and I went, oh my God, it's the Hitman Blues Band. I know all your stuff. And my day is like fantastic now. I was pretty shocked. That was
That's
pretty
the stuff that
random.
has to blow you away, I would imagine, as a
Yeah, that was
musician.
pretty random. And I thought, like, well, that's cool. It's our job is to provide a cathartic experience. That's it. That's what we're supposed to do. People have so many pressures on them. Things are always tough. I don't care when you live or where you live. Things are tough because we're human. And if things aren't tough, we'll make them tough. So our job is to give you a little escape for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll do a song and you'll go, that's exactly how I feel.
Hits the nail on the head. Yep.
That's what I'm glad somebody said it.
Yep.
You know?
Very cool. Well, I guess that kind of leads into the next question. What message would you, or are you trying to convey to your fans through your music?
That you're not alone.
Huh?
That,
Yeah.
you know, things are just, we're going to go through them. Blues is not just sad. There's a lot of happy blues songs. We do a lot of happy blues songs, drunk blues songs, you know, funk and just fun and a few slow things. But the idea is that whatever it is you're experiencing, if it's good or it's bad, other people have had it, so we're either laughing with you or we're crying with you.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. I think that is a wrap for today's Boulton Buzz and our first video interview. Thank you so much, Hitman, for coming in today.
Oh, thank you, Ben.
And it's been an absolute pleasure, folks. Please make sure that go on boltoncenter.org for tickets. June 1st, 8 p.m. Doors open at 7. Looking forward to seeing you then, folks. Thank you so much.